Hello, welcome to my new YouTube videos. We're talking about now the superhero known as the Tez, and I'm going to tell you a little bit of a backstory about him, what he's all about, his powers and abilities, and basically who he is. Now, to start off with, Tez is basically an outsider. He is very different. He never quite fits in, and due to the nature of who he is, he travels to different realities and basically saves different worlds from evil. He also is very different, very compassionate, very caring, but basically his life in his world, he's just a person that can't seem to fit into society, and there's a sense of longing to try and belong somewhere, and yet because of who he is, he feels alienated, an outsider, and has to keep himself to himself. Also, in later stories, he becomes exceptionally paranoid because of his constant travels through different realities, and simply put, he cannot trust anybody. Should be mentioned that he does have autism, and that is very important to his character, because Tez is basically the outsider, the person that will come into a different world, see it for what it is. He's very honest and sees things as they are. He's also a person that fears change, and ironically, he's the one that is the catalyst for change wherever he goes. He can't help himself. He simply is a person that changes things. But unfortunately, being different means that he never quite fit in, never quite belong. That unfortunately has given certain aspects of his character. He is prone to anger, frustration, and all the usual human failings. He has to struggle with his dark side, put simply, a great deal. That said, though, he does have a great deal of compassion. Even though he feels alienated from the many races he tries to protect, he still wants to help them in any way he can. Now let's talk about powers and abilities. For a start, what you're seeing here is Tez's signature move called the Light Dash. He also can project beams out of his hands. Now, the primary source of his powers come from the legendary 7 power. Now, what are the power gems, you may ask? Well, they are basically the source of the multiverse itself. They are basically multiversal, multi-dimensional energy stored in 7 power gems, which, as you can imagine, makes Tez immensely powerful. In fact, Tez can do a great deal many feats, but it should be said that his powers do often fluctuate when he goes to different realities. But even though he's no pushover, and certainly extremely powerful for any normal, ordinary human being. In fact, Tez can be so powerful that he's wiped out entire universes, fought with villains that have absorbed the powers of the universe. In fact, Tez is that powerful that he is capable of destroying the multiverse at full power. You can't underestimate how powerful Tez is. Now this picture is just simply Tez in his acquired gem armor, which when you read the stories you will see how he acquires it, etc. Of course, Tez goes up against villains that are also a threat to the multiverse, hence why he got his powers in the first place, because he is the guardian of the power gems and of the multiverse. Tez has so much power that he can actually open holes in reality, hence his travel to different dimensions in the first place, which takes incredible amounts of power. Tez has got immense abilities, and in the stories, the graphic novels, you do see a great deal of power that Tez has been able to do. His signature powers are simply what we call the light dash form, where he turns into an ultra fast beam of light, like a fireball you could say. That is extremely fast. The impact of being hit by one of Tez's moves would be like being hit by a meteorite. Also, Tez's powers itself, Tez can neutralise any other alien type beams. Basically, because his powers are interdimensional, he can find any weakness in any armour. In fact, Tez becomes so powerful that he can rewarp reality itself and also create inner worlds. In fact, he has a pocket dimension of which he regularly enters to zone out and recover from injuries and recover from different things, because the mental stress is that great. He does end up having a romantic interest. He does indeed get married later on. There's a lot of things that do happen. He makes some good friends, but ultimately you can't trust anybody. And because he is different, because he is an aspie, he does have to deal with feelings of loneliness. But ultimately, because he is the hero, and because he has to take on this burden of fighting against evil, he accepts that he can't have any fraction of a normal life. So he carries on the battle, no matter how difficult it always is. This is my summary of the Tez. Next we'll be doing some villain stories, telling you a bit about the villains, because as you know, the hero is only as great as the villains, and I can tell you right now that Tez does have some pretty awful villains to deal with. So even though he is extremely powerful, the villains he faces are even more powerful. Thank you for your time. Bye.